Do you have trouble with dull drill bits? Well, I do. So today I'm going to do a product review on this Doctor Drill Bit Sharpener. I recently purchased this. I've used it a few times. I think it works very well. So welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. My YouTube channel is all about teaching you how to do things yourself to save money. And a product review like this also helps you save money, because I suspect we've all bought things in the past that turned out to not do what we expected, and it was a waste of money. So product reviews help you save money too. So if you like saving money, subscribe to my channel and I'll help you with that. So let's get on with this review and demonstration of the product. To get started, I'm going to talk about what comes in the box. This is the box that my tool came in. It is the model 750X. I will put a link in the description where I purchased this tool. Drill Doctor does have less expensive models. I think I gave about $160 for this one, but they do have less expensive models. But this model will sharpen drill bits from 3/32 up to 3/4 of an inch. The less expensive models will only sharpen drill bits up to 1/2 an inch. So that's why I wanted this model, because I do have drill bits that go up to 3/4. Actually, I got some larger than that, but they didn't have a bigger option. But anyway, it says it's a fast setup, professional results. It can also create split points. Now, I've never done the split point, so I'm not going to talk about that, but in a future video, I probably will. So, subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for that sort of thing. So anyway, what comes in the box? Obviously the tool. It comes with a nice little carry case. It comes with a registration card. It comes with a little tool. Now this little tool is for when you need to change the sharpening stone that's inside. I think it's a diamond tipped little disc. But if you need to change that, you use this tool to do that. And it comes with an instruction manual. Now folks, we all hate reading these things. I know that, but I would strongly encourage you to read it anyway, because sometimes you'll come across something you didn't know that can make the difference between you getting hurt or not, or damaging your tool, or damaging something you're working on. So, like I said, I strongly recommend you read the instructions. Now, as a side note, sometimes, and I always read these instructions, sometimes you'll get instructions that are written by somebody that doesn't know English. And some of those things they write will just leave you laughing for days. So don't miss out on that either. Sometimes this gets really funny, the things that they write in these instruction manuals. This one was written quite well though. But do read the instructions. All right, now let's get on with the setup of the tool. Before you can sharpen your drill bits, you have to set up your tool. Now the first thing I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do all this up close, so you won't be seeing me, you won't be seeing anything except maybe my hands and the tools and the parts. But I'm going to do close-ups of all these different steps. But the steps that are involved is, first you have to determine the angle of the cutting edge on your drill bit. If you stand your drill bit straight up like this, the angle of that cutting edge is something like this. You have to determine that angle. The owner's manual for the tool will show you, there's a guide to help you determine that angle. Most drill bits will either be 118 degrees or 135 degrees, but you have to know that angle in order to match the way the bit was originally sharpened. Then you adjust this part of your tool for that angle. Next, you insert your bit into this part. And you have to, this bit, as you can see, you can be slid in and out. It has to be stuck out a specific distance. That determines how much metal gets taken off the end of your drill bit. If your drill bit just needs to be touched up, you don't want to take much off. But if it's really dull, you need to take more off. I'll show you how to adjust that. And also, where your drill bit is, as you can turn your drill bit, it has to be turned to a very specific point in relation to this black part that goes in the tool. If it's not in the exact right position and or turned exactly right in relation to this, again, your drill bit's not going to be sharpened properly. I'll show you how to do that. Next thing, you put your drill bit in here to sharpen it, and there's a specific way to do that. I'll show you all those steps up close. And that may sound like a lot, but after you've done it a couple times, it's really not difficult. So now let's move on to the close-ups of making these adjustments on your tool. Okay, step one is to determine the angle of the cutting edge on your blade. And this is the page out of the instructions manual that will help you with that guide. And this particular bit is brand new, so there's no wear on it. And if you slide it up, this first chart here is for 135 degrees. As you can see, it kind of matches. If you go to 118 degrees, now if I can control this, it doesn't match those angles. So you know this bit would need to be sharpened at 135 degrees, and that's the first step, is to determine the angle of the cutting edge. Now the next step is to adjust this part of your tool. Now I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see it better. If you see the scale over here, it says you're at 118 degrees right now. To change that, you loosen this screw, and then this will rotate up and down. And right there's your 118. And if this thing will focus again, 135 is right there. So we're going to tighten it down there on the 135. And that's how you adjust that part. Now step 3 is to adjust your bit in this part. And how far out your drill bit sticks will determine how much metal gets taken off the end of it. And it also, as I said earlier, it has to be turned to a specific way. Now to get started, you got a button over here. If you set a little nut down in there, it turns, that screws in and out. And the further you go this way, the less metal it will take off the end of your bit. If your bit doesn't need but just a touching up, that's what you would do to take less off of it. If you go back this way, as you can see, the nut is moving to the left. It will take more metal off of your blade or your drill bit. So let's put it about there. You may have to just play with this a little bit to find the right spot, because there's not a really good guide for that. Now, on the side of this thing, you can see it says 118 right there. These little notches under here are what determines, I don't have a good pointer, but like that right there, that notch is for 118 degree drill bits. If you go one notch to the right, that's for 135 degrees. Now the other notches are for different angles for drill bits, but most people, you either need the center one for the 118 or the one just to the right for 135 degrees. So we're going to go with 135 degrees for now and get this centered back up. So if you look at this thing, you got a nice little white spot right here, but ignore that at this point in time. You want to look at this notch here, that's the higher one. Maybe you can see that if the camera focus on it a little bit better. But that right there is a little bit higher. And with your bit stuck out a little bit further than it needs to be, you push this button down, which pulls those metal tabs back. Put your blade in there, make sure that tab there goes into the one notch to the right, because that's for 135 degrees. Now you release your button here. Now if you notice, that pushed your drill bit back into this tool. That adjusts how far in and out your bit needs to be in the holder. Now if you watch these metal arms, you want to turn your drill bit over here until those arms drop in like that. You want them in the place where they go into the bit as far as possible. And that adjusts the position, rotational position for your drill bit in the holder. Now you tighten this part up, mash that, you pull it out, and this is adjusted. Your bit is in and out the right distance, and it's turned to the proper angle to sharpen your bit properly. So that's that step. And I know I said earlier, it seems a little complicated, and at first it does, but after you've done this a few times, it's really pretty easy. Okay, this is your last step for sharpening your drill bit. See the white mark? See that pin? You line those up and you push it in just like that. And this will rotate like this, okay? And each half turn does one side of your twist bit. Now reach over here on the end and it's going to get a little noisy, but I'm going to turn the machine on and then I'm going to sharpen the drill bit. And that's what you do. Only in my case, I didn't have the bit out far enough, so it didn't really take anything off. I heard it just barely touch it. So I'm going to back up to my previous step over here. I'm going to run that little bolt in there. I'm going to run it back in just a little bit. And I'm going to do this again, back to 135, right there. Loosen this up, push my bit in. You may not have seen it, but it did move. Tighten this back down. That will take a little bit more metal off the end of my blade, my bit. Well, I need to make sure I got it centered here good. All right. All right, push that, pull it out. Now let's try sharpening it again. Get this thing lined up. Once again, white line to the white, or the little pin. Push it in there. Turn the tool on. That was one side of the bit. That was the other side of the bit. Now I can tell I'm taking a good bit off of this bit and I don't really need to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and continue. Every time you do this, make sure you do even numbers of passes. I hope you can hear me. And when you get to the point that you're not hearing any grinding, that's when you know you are finished. I wasn't counting my turns, but hopefully I got the right amount here. All right, I'm gonna turn my tool off. And now I got a sharpened drill bit. I don't know if it'll focus on that or not. I got some glare going on, but there it is, nice and sharp. Might need, this was an old bit, so it might need to go a little bit more. But anyway, that's the procedure for sharpening these things. So that wraps up how you adjust and use the tool. A couple little side notes I'd like to mention. If you have long drill bits like this, you can still put them in here and sharpen them just the same. It's just that when you after you adjust, everything and you put it in here, it just sticks out real long ways, looks kind of weird, but you can sharpen those just the same. I'd like to show you an example. I probably should have done this sooner. This is an example of the sizes, the size range. If you can see those, that small bit is a 3/32. The larger one is a 3/4 inch bit. So that is the range of drill bits that this drill bit sharpener is capable of sharpening. So I wanted to show you that. One downside that I found, at least one of the bits that I started first sharpening, when I was doing the sharpening over here, I did it too many times in a row. The bit got hot. Be careful you don't do that and let your bits get hot. When you start going around with this tool, when you're going around, if you go around more than 2 or 3 times, stop and pause a little bit, let your drill bit cool off before you continue, because you can let that bit get too hot, just like if you were sharpening on a grinder, which is what you're doing. If it gets too hot, you can lose the temper in the steel, which would make it dull quicker. The 2 bits that I did sharpen here earlier, when I took them back out to my shop, I was trying to drill holes in some stainless steel. And I had ruined the bits earlier because I let them get too hot trying to drill through some stainless steel. So when I first put them in the drill, they started out cutting real good, but they dulled real quick, and that's my fault. I just let them get too hot before when I was trying to use them. So anyway, that's a couple extra tips. As I said earlier, as I use this more and learn more about the features, we'll be at some point be talking about how to cut the back side down. I forget what they call that, but the tool can do that. We'll also be showing you how to change the grinding wheel inside of it and things of that nature. And you can also sharpen masonry bits with this tool. We'll be showing you that at a later time as well. So if you subscribe to our channel, you're more likely to get those videos in your news feed later on. So anyway, at this point, I'd just like to say thank you for visiting Do It Yourself with Wayne. I'd really appreciate it if you'd click subscribe and like the video and share with your friends. Do all those things. And we just thank you for visiting, and we hope you have a great day.